quite active in the Historical Society, and we became interested in attending. So I started going and joined in 1962. Now, back to the beginning. We actually started on March 3rd, 1947, and our 75th anniversary was just 2 days ago. Our meeting was at the library at what was then the Eureka Junior High, which is now part of the high school, with Dr. Kenneth Bailey and Dr. Hyman Pillay of Humboldt State College at the time, now Cal Poly. The goal was to preserve the original historical material of Northern California and get a place to collect and exhibit the material. Kenneth Bailey was the acting chair and Nesca Jeffers was the acting secretary. The Pioneer Society was invited to the next meeting. And just a side note, the Society of Humboldt County Pioneers was actually established in 1876, and it is still going. And we hope to have meetings again when we can open up. So that group was invited to their next meeting, and Martha Roscoe was among those attending the first meeting. And Martha? Okay. Huh? Just keep going?
No, tell her.
Oh.
Show the photo you want.
Can you bring up Martha? Okay, anyway, the second meeting was on March 24th, 1947, and they named their officers, their objectives, and their projects. And they already had some items, and they were moved from the Eureka Memorial Building to, not on the second meeting, to the Clark Historical Museum. Cecile Clark had a museum in one of the back buildings of the Eureka High School. When I was going to high school and I graduated in 59, I was enjoying going to see her museum there at the high school. And then in 1960, she bought the bank and opened the Clark Historical Museum that you see now. The third meeting was April 15, 1947. The nominating committee presented the following president, Mrs. George Murray, vice president, Mrs. Clarence Pearsall, secretary, Ms. Nesca Jeffers. They were unanimously elected. Dr. Bailey and Dr. Pillay were asked to draw up a constitution and bylaws for the new organization. At the October 29 meeting, the nominating committee presented the following names for trustees: Dr. Kenneth Bailey, Dr. Pillay, Dr. H. Stewart, and Mrs. Arthur Smith. Later, Miss Mary Blair and Mr. Ronald Harville were also named. Richard Harville was a very active participant in our organization for many, many years, but it was his brother who was one of the charter members. And they were all elected by unanimous ballot.
Caroline, sorry, don't mean, can you see the PowerPoint presentation on the screen? Is that showing up?
Librarian. I'm wondering that too. Are all you seeing is my film room?
It should be a picture of Martha. Can you guys see that?
No, I was looking
No,
for
okay.
Martha.
Well, let's try this again. I thought it was showing it to everybody. I'm sorry about that. All right.
Yeah, well, yeah, start with Martha.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
Now, is that showing up on everybody's screen?
You want to see that? All right.
I see it. Okay, should I go ahead now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. On May 27, 1948, the new Constitution was presented and accepted, and Mr. Charles Ewell was voted to be the treasurer. At one time, the society hoped to purchase the Carson House for a depository and museum, and also they were hoping to perpetuate the Myrtle Grove Cemetery, which now, if you go down there, you will see it in its beautiful position. Several volunteers have done a wonderful job of upgrading, preserving, and recording who's there at the cemetery. And they also wanted to continue to preserve items of historic importance belonging to the Pioneer Society of Humboldt County. We still do, we never did get a room of our own. So our things are with our historical society and the museum and the Clark Museum. Now, there were many officers over the years. Once you were president, you became a board member for life. This changed several years ago with the permanent board members being grandfathered in, and I'm one of them. And the presidents now serve for just 1 year after being president. Chow is the next picture. Are you there? Yeah, you see Chow on my left, and I am on the right, a younger me. And he is the only president who served 5 terms. And he still holds the record. I did serve 4 terms, but I refused to do a 5th. I want Chow to always have that record, and I hope it works. Lucille Bronner was our treasurer for many years, and Asta Kohlberg was our secretary for many years. Now, when Asta read the minutes of the previous meeting, she would also read the program as well. And we have copies of her minutes here, including the program. In 1954, the president was Dr. Hyman Pillay. And I went on to Humboldt State after I graduated high school. And Dr. Pillay was one of my history professors. And it was just fun to see him both in school and at the meetings. Then vice president was Richard Harville. Secretary, Asta Kohlberg again. She served for many years. And treasurer was Charles Yull. The trustees were Mrs. Paul Borup, Mr. Arthur Jewett, Mr. Oscar Lord, Mr. Frank Maxwell, Mr. Fred McClaskey, and Mrs. Stanley Roscoe. That's Martha. Asta Kohlberg passed away in 1971. I was secretary for Bob Palmrose when he was president, and we have a picture of Bob. There we go. And Bob is still with us. Then I later became vice president and program manager, then president for 4 years. The vice president took care of the programs at that time. For several years, our treasurer, Lucille, kept the records on a card table in her living room. And I would go visit her there if anything came up. And we had a few thousand members, so it was a full card room. We went many years without our own building. Now, the first newsletter was put out in February 1953. In 1948, they had 143 members, and they met the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays at the junior high. Later meetings were the 2nd Tuesday at the Marshall School, the Winship Junior High, the high school cafeteria, and that's a new Winship Junior High, by the way, and the Methodist Church. And now we meet the first Saturday at the county library when we are past this pandemic and they're allowed to open back up again. Early on, the society recorded the monthly meetings, first with reel-to-reel tape, then cassette tape, and now the programs are videotaped. In February, we normally have an annual meeting and try to find special programs. At first, this was at the Ingomar Club, which filled very quickly. Due to the demand, the dinner was moved to the Eureka Inn until it closed. And I remember racing down to get our tickets so we could get into the Ingomar Club. Now, then the dinner was moved to the Elks Club and most recently back again to the Ingomar Club. And we seem to have no trouble getting in these days, so it's working. The magazine was issued 6 times a year. Now it's 4 times with the equivalent number of pages. Longtime editors included Wallace Martin. I believe it was 19 years for him. Andy Genzoli, Susan Forsythe, and current one is Wendy Hill. Reviewing the early issues was like a step back in time. Many of the people who wrote their memories have now passed on, and we are so lucky to have all of that written down, and we have the full collection of the historians here at the office. For several years, the society sponsored a trip each year, sometimes to see other areas. We went up and met up to Medford and had a good time there. Others were with different societies. Going down below, we met with Sonoma County, Mendocino County. For many years, our collections were at the Clark Museum and in storage in Old Town. We later moved into a room in the Carnegie Library. Glenn Nash built out an extra wall there, so we had our own private room when you went in, and it was the back right-hand side. And it was then that we bought our first computer from Dick Daniels, and as I remember, it cost about $7,000. Dick went on to be our membership manager for several years. In 1993, we received the Barnum House that was willed to us by Helen Barnum, which was such a wonderful, wonderful prize. It was 5,000 square feet, it still is, and we thought we had lots of room. We are really squeezing things in now. Items were added to the collection, I would say almost daily, but at least quite often. There's thousands, I know we're up to about 6,500 of photographs, lots of documents, many local history books, and a collection of oral histories and binders of information about people put together from the newspapers by Marilyn Meloda. And I've made quite a bit of use of those myself. She did such a tremendous amount of research over the years that we named our genealogy room after her. Special projects include publishing books. First one was a reprint of the Humboldt Bay region, then 2 books on stories from the newsletters, and later books included Little White Father and Two Peoples, One Place. The Society first issued a 20-year index that Dick Daniels worked on of the newsletters, and now they currently have a complete index available for people who need information. The Society also sponsored 3 Conference of California Historical Societies meetings, one in the 50s, one in 82, and one in 2002, which was in partnership with the Ferndale Museum. And I was very much involved in the second 2. I was just a kid in the first one. I'm currently the District 1 rep covering Humboldt and Del Norte counties. The Society now has information online, including a subject matter index and the website, and you can Google them very easily. It's www.humboldthistory.org, and our email address is hchs@humboldthistory.org, and members can access our magazines online with a password that's issued to you with each issue of the Historian. So I just got mine a couple of days ago, my new one. Currently, our executive director is Jane Hill. Our front office and bookstore manager is Deborah Baskett. Our research assistant is Corey Platt, and our archival collections manager is Pam Service. Our current officers are President Dr. Alexandra Service, Vice President Chuck Petty, past President Renee Ross, and our Steve was past president just before her, Secretary James Garrison, and Treasurer Dr. Jack Irvine. Now I'd like to share some pictures of our office and collections, as well as pictures from our current calendar, which has shots of our history. And I hooked this up. This is our current calendar. And we'll go to our first picture, a variety of newsletters of our magazines, from a little one up in the upper left-hand corner, 1953, 2021, and here is the new one for March of 2022, celebrating our 75th anniversary, just issued a couple of days ago. The next picture is Mattole Grange. On our way to the Mattole Grange, this is actually in Ferndale, and we took 2 trips with talks on the way, including a wonderful one with Andy Genzoli, and it was quite a treat. If you do get down to Mattole Grange, they now have a historical society and a home, and of course, the Grange always has their wonderful 4th of July picnic. Now, the next one is our maps. This is a picture of our city map, or a couple of pictures showing some detail. And I'll show you later where we keep the collection. And the little red square, you can see where our house is. The next one is July, and it's Lloyd Stein, part of a Lloyd Stein collection. And you'll see 2 pictures camp above Willow Creek, 1946, and Booner's Point. And what amazes me about Booner's Point, I digress again, but my aunt and uncle started the easy boat landing at King Salmon, and I had to go to work as a kid, but I got to go play on the beach and actually was able to climb that high bluff there. And the bluff is almost completely gone. You will never get to climb that high up there again, but it was fun while it lasted. But it's still there, it's just a lot smaller. And he left us a collection of at least 1,000 photographs all around the Eureka area. Now the November one, our next one, is a collection of the little tickets you would get when you went to our annual dinner. There's one from Atoll Day when we took our bus down, another one for a Humboldt Bay cruise, and the annual dinners, except for the loss of being able to go during the COVID pandemic, they are wonderful. We always have a special speaker, music, and a lot of people attend. The next one is November, a sample of our history programs. And I want to mention a little bit on that. The man looking at a map is Don Tuttle, and we have named our map room for him because he saved us so many maps as well as pictures and has been an active member for many, many years. Sadly, he just passed away here recently. Then the top person in the blue shirt on the right is Jerry Rohde, and he's still making presentations. And I hope he comes back with his special ones sponsored by Pearson's. They are the best things to watch for. And he's still very, very active. The young man on the bottom is Bill Cozy, longtime friend of mine, as well as the museums and several groups too. He's in costume, he's a reenactor, and he's presenting, I believe, his stuff on Civil War history. And sadly, he just passed away here several months ago. We're missing a lot of wonderful people that have been very important to our organization. So our last one of the calendar that I want to share is actually January. This is our Gross Wells Barnum house, along with a drawing, beautiful drawing that was done by Patrick Gallagher. And Patrick grew up here. I remember his mother when I was a kid. She didn't live too far away. So this is what I wanted to share with you on the calendars. And if you get a calendar, you get more pictures just like this. There's 12 in all. Now what I want to do is go inside this beautiful building and share with you some of the rooms. So we're going to start with the bookstore. When you first come in, go to your right and you will see Deb at her desk, and you will see several books on the left that are for sale. If you need to update your membership, she takes care of that too. So that's our bookstore, my favorite room, one of my favorite rooms. Okay, the next one is the map room. And you can see we have a lot of maps, and some are over on the left, but a lot of them are in the proper files. And I just love that. And this is the Don Tuttle map room. Now our third one is our library. And I helped out with that, getting more and more books as I find them. And other people are bringing books in. So we are continuing to grow our library. The main books you'll see I'm looking at my right. And on the left, we have all telephone books and city directories. And those city directories are very, very helpful. Then the next one is the Genealogy Room. And this is the Marilyn Melota Genealogy Room. I saw Marilyn so many times sitting upstairs in the library, finding anything she could find that related to people and places of Humboldt County. And if you look at all that white on the shelf, those are all people, mostly people, biographies that she collected. And she also did a lot of work on preserving births, marriages, and deaths. And Karen Hendricks, who's still an active board member and active all-around member, helped with that kind of work too. She's done a lot of that. The next one is, go to the next one. This is called our slide and film room. And you, as you can tell, it was the original house restroom, but we don't use that one. The bathtub is covered and you will see straight back some video things, and there's boxes of slides, and I've gotten into a few of those. We will be sharing those with people in more talks. And I like this room. The next room, let's do the next room. Okay, this one is this is the family, isn't it? Right. The family collections room. And everybody who donated things from their history of their families are in these boxes for other people who are researching to come see. And it's a wonderful variety, just of families, because we had to put other ones in other rooms. Okay, the next one. Now this one is this is our photo room, isn't it? Organizations room, got it. I keep my eye out. This is our organizations room, and these are the different companies that were in Humboldt County. So we've got a lot of that. Next one. There's a photo room, sorry. This is our photo room, and we have a huge collection there, and you'll find the Lloyd Stein collection also in this room, as well as many other collections have been donated. Okay, next one. This is our newspaper collection on the right. The ones that you see, those flattened boxes, those are on the right. And I'll share with this on the middle, you're looking straight at some of our business collection. And if you walk through the room on your right, this is upstairs, you will see more of our business collection. And the two bookcases on the left are backlogs of our historians, because people do come in and want to buy a past historian, and we have most of them, I think, for them. Next. And here's a better shot of the newspaper collection, which is on the right. And of course, left of that, you can go through the business collection. Next. Scan Center. Okay, I am sitting in here talking to you, and we can scan. If people want to keep their own photographs and they can't give us copies for whatever reason, if you bring them down, we can scan them in here for our collection, if you're willing to share them. And we're also happy to take originals for our collections. Next one.
That's the end of our slides.
Okay, then I do want to thank everyone who donated our items. We do also have a collection of ledgers, government things, schools, and disasters. And you know, we've had our share of disasters in Humboldt County, including our floods and earthquakes. And I do want to thank everyone who's donated the items, collections, and money to support this organization. I also want to encourage people to make use of our collections, as well as support the many other museums and historical societies in our county. And Steve is right. I do belong to most of them. They are wonderful, and they have beautiful collections too, with a lot of hard-working volunteers, because this is the kind of work that takes volunteers to do the job and get it done right. And thank all of you for sitting in on it. And we have time for questions.
If anybody has any questions, go ahead and put them into the chat and we'll get them answered. I had a couple of questions. If somebody is not a member, are they still able to access the collection? Is there a way they can access the collection if they want to do research but aren't a member?
Yes, they can come into the room, into the building. They're welcome. Anyone's welcome to come in. There is a cost for researching if you're not a member. Members get research free. Yeah, Pam? $5 an hour? Just $5. $5 if you're not a member. If you're a member, come on in too.
And are you guys open to the public right now, or are you still closed for COVID?
Sadly, we're still closed. I think if they call in, oh, we still help people and we still answer questions, but call them by phone. Debbie usually answers the questions. And do they make appointments now?
Yes.
Yeah, they can make an individual can make an appointment to come in.
Okay.
But we hope to open in the next month or two if all things go well.
Steve just asked if you could talk a little more about Martha Roscoe and her legacy with the Historical Society.
Ooh, what can I talk about Martha Roscoe? Martha was also a past president. She was one of the ones who started it. God, I knew Martha Roscoe forever. And one of the things she told me, because we'd always go to all the different meetings, and oh, thank you, Steve. That's a very important piece. I'll just finish this up. She always wanted to go to plays and other things, not just historical things. She was a well-rounded lady and a huge collector. And when she passed on, they donated her collection, which does have a lot of Fort Humboldt as well as many other Humboldt County things, to the Historical Society, and they're here and available for your use. Thank you, Steve. I missed that one. Next, another one.
If people have items that they may want to donate, are there particular items that you guys are looking for in terms of donations to the collections? They
can call first, or, well, it's hard to come in. You can't come in right now, but I have a call, and I've done that myself because I've had a couple of things I wanted to bring in. So I call up and say, there's somebody here Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 12:30 to 6:30. And just call and make an appointment and you can bring them in. Once we're opened back up, you can probably bring them in, have them take a look at, because they only have so much room. So they might be a little bit wanting to be sure that it's stuff that researchers and people interested in Humboldt County can use.
Is there anything in particular that the Historical Society is like looking for? Is there like the holy grail item that you hope somebody has in their attic somewhere that you guys are looking for?
You know what I think would be wonderful if people have diaries. I think that's a big one that is not shared that much. Isn't that diaries? Any other? I have a couple of people hiding behind me, so I'm checking with them too. Anything else that we're looking for?
Photos.
Oh, more photo. Not that we don't have enough photos. You never have enough photos because photos are make the history so interesting. So if they have photos of things, especially things we don't have, we're ready to go.
Identify the photos.
But they have them identified, because there's nothing more frustrating than have a wonderful batch of pictures and we don't know who they are. That is hard. And I'm just as guilty of that as anyone else, never asking the family members in time before they passed on. If you have photos at home, please get them identified, if not for us, for your own sake. Because I'm sitting there with things from my father's family. I have no idea who they are. And that's a shame. Get them identified for you and for us. Any other questions?
Any other noteworthy field trips or events that you recall that aren't covered in the calendar?
Other noteworthy events. Oh, golly. I'm trying to think, because I did go to a few. I love the one in Medford. And we were up to, oh gosh, oh golly, I should have written them down. I'm sorry, I can't think of the other one. I know we went further down south. We had a lot of fun on them. There was one lady who was organized. She did one, I missed it, but she did one when they went to the prison in Crescent City before it opened. So they got to visit the prison and see what it was like. And I've been to some, I also belong to the Del Norte Historical Society and have gone to many of their meetings. And they have a very nice museum as well. And they meet once a quarter, where we normally meet once a month, except for July and August. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to write those down for a next meeting, for another talk. Anything else?
Oh, that looks like all that we have. So I guess if there's no other questions, we'll go ahead and let everybody go. Thank you so much for all your information and giving us a little sneak peek of what it looks like on the inside of the building and all of that. So next month it is on Historical Chinatown. Is that correct? With Kitty
Right.
from the Clark Museum. So if you're already logged onto this one, you're on my list and I'll email you the link to that. We'll go ahead and upload this onto YouTube. So if you've missed it or if you want to share this with somebody, just go to the Humboldt County Library's YouTube page and it'll be there next week. And outside of that, I will go ahead and say goodbye and everybody have a great weekend.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
I guess that's it.